Now see, normally when I do a video, I'm holding up a beverage. But because I've been under the weather for the last few days, I'm going to hold up this. I'm going to hold up this. That's mainly what I've been consuming. But I do have my drink with me. Anytime you live somewhere where the weather changes a lot, like where I live, man, one day it's like 29 degrees, then the next day is 42 degrees, then the next day is 27 degrees, then the next day is 52 degrees, then the next day is 24 degrees, and the next day is 49 degrees. Anytime the weather keeps going up and down like that, man, I can't speak for everybody, but it messes with me, man. I always come down with a cold. So yeah, I've been dealing with cold issues for the last few days. Now it's funny. Check out my latest article from the Negro Manosphere in the comments section. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Now, number one, you guys know from last year, I used to do a number of my infamous angry, harsh admonishment type videos. And a lot of guys who are my loyal followers, my male clients, they don't have a problem with those. But a lot of guys who fall into the category of my haters and critics, man, they hate that shit. See, this is what I find about a lot of men, and particularly men on social media. A lot of men love to hurl criticisms and insults towards women, but they don't like acknowledging the flaws and weaknesses in their own behavior. There's a lot of men who they don't like that. Like, one thing about me, compared to, I would say, a lot of dating coaches, a lot of pickup artists, seduction gurus, that type of thing, I'm not afraid to go after my own gender. Like, a lot of dating coaches, they don't really harshly go after their own gender. Mainly because they're scared of losing potential clients. So a lot of pickup artists, they won't criticize a lot of things about men other than maybe in a real, mild, lighthearted manner. But there's a lot of guys I know who work in, as either dating coach, a seduction guru, or pickup artist. They won't go after members of their own gender in the same way that I do. But as I mentioned before, at least 3 of my 4 books include some type of admonishment of men. And that's why, quite frankly, why a lot of guys don't like some of my books. Like, I give you an example. It's funny. I would divide guys, when it comes to my books, I would divide guys into 3 categories. There's some guys, usually my most enthusiastic and loyal followers and my male clients, they love all of my books. They love all of my books. They own all of my books. Then on the exact opposite end, I got some of my harshest critics and my haters. They'll make comments like, oh, I would never buy one of Alan Roger Currie's books, man. Fuck Alan Roger Currie, man. Fuck him, man. Fuck Alan Roger Currie, man. He ain't shit. Fuck him. He's a male feminist, man. Fuck him, man. Fuck him. Then you got the most interesting group that's right in the middle. The most interesting group is actually right in the middle. I got some guys that love at least 2 of my books, but they either dislike my other books or at minimum they're indifferent towards my other books. I'll give you an example. Like, I mentioned this, I think, on a recent video. There's some guys, and at the risk of generalizing, I would say, a lot of MGTOW type guys, and a lot of hardcore red pill aware type guys, they love my book, The Possibility of Sex, mainly because I'm harshly critical of a lot of women's flaws and weaknesses in that book. And they love the beta male revolution, because I criticize the modern day notion of long-term monogamy and strictly monogamous marriages. So they like that shit. A lot of MGTOW types and hardcore red pill wear types, they love those two books. But a lot of those same guys, man, they don't care for, like, my book, Ooh, Say It Again. They don't like it. They don't like it. Like, I once was on a message board. One guy, he had a blog, and he was ranking his top 10 best MGTOW books of all time. And actually, he included The Possibility of Sex. Possibility of Sex was in his top 10 best MGTOW books of all time. See, here's one of the simple reasons why a lot of guys like some books and don't like others. My book, Mole 1 and Ooh, Say It Again, those are more so game books. Game. Possibility of Sex also has some degree of game in it too, but The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution, they're more so looked at as red pill aware type books. Red pill aware type books. And again, that's why a lot of MGTOW types love those two books, because they consider those red pill aware type books. But yeah, man, a lot of guys don't care for it. But a secondary reason, as I already alluded to, is because in at least 3 of my 4 books, I admonish men. Like Mole 1, the main admonishment I have in that book is men who are one of two things: men who are liars, men who are manipulators, and men who are verbal cowards. So yeah, if there's 3 types of men I admonish in both my original version of Mode 1 as well as my more updated audiobook versions and ebook versions of Mode 1, is men who are liars, men who are manipulators, and men who are verbal cowards. Well, really, those two go hand in hand, because if you're a verbal coward, then you're naturally going to become a liar and or a manipulator. That's what provokes a man to become a liar with women or a manipulator of women, is when he don't have the balls and backbone to be straightforwardly honest with women about shit. So yeah, when you're a verbal coward, your natural progression is to become a liar and or a manipulator. And that's why there's a certain percentage of men that don't like Mode 1. That, again, there's men that either don't like Mode 1 or at minimum they're indifferent towards it. And that's one of the main reasons why. It's because I admonish men in that book. Ooh, Say It Again. Similar to my article today, again, that's in the Negro Manosphere. I'm posting a link in the comments section. The main guys I admonish in Ooh, Say It Again is men who are a combination of indiscreet, highly judgmental towards women's sexual behavior, and men who are just blatantly hypocritical. Men who are indiscreet, indiscreet meaning you got a big mouth. Like every woman you fuck, you tell all your buddies about all the women you fuck. That's an indiscreet motherfucker. Like if you fucked some woman named Kimberly Johnson last Friday, and instead of keeping that to yourself, you went on and told like a half a dozen of your buddies, yeah, man, y'all know Kimberly Johnson, the one work at the Health and Fitness Club down the street? Yeah, man, I fucked her last Friday, man. I fucked her, man. Yeah, man. Matter of fact, y'all know Angela Williams, the cashier at Walmart? You know, the cutie pie with the mole on the left cheek? Yeah, man, I fucked her too, man. I fucked her a couple weeks ago, man. Yeah, Angela Williams, yeah, I fucked her a couple weeks ago. See, anytime you kiss and tell, particularly when you include names, like, one thing you notice about me, I kiss and tell on a lot of my experiences, my sexual experiences with a lot of women But when it comes to specific names, like real first names, real last names, where the woman works, you know, that type of thing, I don't kiss and tell like that, particularly publicly. You know, every blue moon I might have privately, but publicly I don't kiss and tell names, man. You know, I don't know, man. But I know a lot of dudes who do that shit. So that's what it means to be indiscreet, man, is when you always sharing with your buddies the women, the real first names and or real last names of the women you recently fucked. That means you're an indiscreet motherfucker. And you ain't gonna never have a long tenure as a prolific womanizer if you continue to be indiscreet. Believe that shit. Second thing I criticize, I will say again, is men who are just highly judgmental. That relates to Dr. Sigmund Freud's Madonna horror complex. There's a lot of men, to repeat this ad nauseum, there's a lot of men, as you know, speaking of my book, I'll say it again, I rank women in 5 categories. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. To give you the quick recap again, a 5 is a woman that is only willing to have sex with a man who is her husband or at minimum her fiance. That's a 5. That's a 5. A 4 is a woman that highly prefers to only have sex with a man who is her husband, her fiance, or at minimum her long-term boyfriend, but occasionally, every blue moon, she will give in to indulging in short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. A 3 is a woman that publicly will always present herself as either a 4 or a 5, but privately she will engage in short-term, non-monogamous casual sex on at least semi-regularly. A 2 is a woman that publicly will present herself as a 4, but privately she's extremely kinky and promiscuous. She indulges in casual sex on a regular basis. She just don't want to publicly admit it. And a 1 is a woman who's very open about the fact that she's a combination of kinky and promiscuous, or if not promiscuous, polyamorous. So that's a 1. Here's what I find about most men, and I've said this before in previous videos. Here's the 2 women I find that most men have the least problems with. It's women who are 5s and women who are 1s. Most men don't have a problem with women who are 5s or 1s. See, men as a group, they love for women to conveniently fall into one of those 2 categories. To either be a completely innocent, wholesome, strictly monogamy-oriented good girl, or for a woman to openly acknowledge that she's a kinky, highly promiscuous slut. If a woman is on basically one extreme or the other, those are the 2 women that men have the least problems with. And I would say to a lesser extent, maybe the 4s, women who are 4s. But if there's at least 2 of those 5 women that men cannot stand, and again, I've talked about this in a number of my previous videos, is the women who are 2s and 3s. Men cannot stand women who are 2s and 3s because they feel like those women are deceptively promiscuous. That those men are deceptively promiscuous and or polyamorous, or what could also be thought of as simply sexually duplicitous. Because essentially that's what it means to be sexually duplicitous. Sexually duplicitous is when a woman is, or it could be a man too. A man could be sexually duplicitous. Anytime you're deceptively promiscuous, meaning that you publicly give people the impression that you only engage in strictly monogamous sexual relationships, but behind closed doors you engage in promiscuous or polyamorous, that means you're deceptively promiscuous, or again, in other words, sexually duplicitous. And anyway, yeah, a lot of men, man, they don't like 2s and 3s, man. They hate 2s and 3s. They hate 2s and 3s. Even though Well, I'll get to my article in a second. But yeah, so judgmental, and then the final thing is hypocritical, man. I mean, it's just hypocritical, man. The easy example of being hypocritical is a man who wants to fuck another man's daughter, but he don't want nobody fucking his daughter. He want to fuck one of his boy's sisters, but he don't want his boy fucking his sister. That's just blatantly hypocritical, man. Matter of fact, speaking of hypocritical, this happens in a lot of families. They had an episode on this show called Blackish. I don't know how many of you watch this show called Blackish. It's an entertaining sitcom on ABC. But I've had a lot of my male friends even admit that they fall into this category. A lot of men have double standards when it comes to their sons versus their daughters. Like on the show Blackish, the father, played by the comedic actor Anthony Anderson, and his wife is played by Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy Ross. Anthony Anderson, when he found out his son lost his virginity and started fucking, he was excited. He was like, yeah, yeah. And that's how a lot of fathers are. A lot of men I know, man, including like close friends of mine or fraternity brothers of mine, a lot of men I know who have at least one son and at least one daughter, they want their son to start fucking as soon as possible. They want their son to be fucking as soon as possible. But as soon as they find out their daughter's fucking, they're like, oh, hell no. 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 And that's how Anthony Anderson's character was on Blackish. Because at first he was excited about his son fucking. But then when his wife said, told him that his daughter Zoe, his oldest daughter named Zoe, he thought that Zoe was still a virgin. And his wife was like, no. Zoe's fucking. And she actually said fucking. They kind of half bleeped it out, but you can still tell she said fucking. She didn't just say half sex. She said, no, I think what's his name on the show is Dre. Anthony Anderson's character's name is Dre. She said, Dre, no, you're wrong. Zoe is fucking. That shit was hilarious, man. And he start crying, man. But yeah, I know a lot of men. That's an example of men's hypocrisy, man. A lot of men, they want their sons to lose their virginity as quickly and early as possible. But when it comes to their daughters, they want their daughters to remain a virgin until they're married, man. And I go after men. A lot of men admitted to me that when they listened to the audiobook version of Who Said Again, some of them, man, that ruffled their feathers a little bit. Because I have a section in Who Said Again where I tell men, I say, if you got a daughter, your daughter going to get fucked. In today's day and age, if you think your daughter going to wait till marriage to start fucking, you are naive and delusional. Your daughter, not only is your daughter going to start fucking before she gets married, there's at least a 50% chance she's going to be fucking before she graduates from high school. There's girls nowadays, they start fucking at the age of like 11, 12, 13 years old, man. And if not that young, they might start fucking at 15, 16, 17, man. It ain't too many girls in today's society that wait until marriage to start fucking or wait until their mid-20s to start fucking, man. I would say the average age that most girls in today's society lose their virginity is somewhere between 14 and 17. Somewhere between 14 and 17. That's the average age that most women, I would assert, lose their virginity in today's society. So anyway, that's another book. And then finally, the other book that I have, An Admonishment of Men, is The Possibility of Sex. Even though that's one book I think a lot of men miss the admonishment because they're put so much emphasis on the fact that I'm criticizing the flaws and weaknesses of women's behavior in that book. But I criticize men too. And basically my number one criticism of men and The Possibility of Sex is men related to my last few videos, is men who favor trying to get women in bed by being what's known as indirect as opposed to direct. They believe in like giving women the misleading impression that they want to be that woman's long-term boyfriend or that woman's future husband just to get some ass. And what I basically point out in that book is that if you use that technique, you're going to end up getting played. there's a 90% chance you're going to end up getting played when you use that technique. So yeah, the only book I really don't, I would say that I probably really don't harshly admonish men's behavior is The Beta Male Revolution. That book is more so like just an assessment of why today's dating scene is what it is. Because in order to understand why women are the way they are today, you have to first understand where women have been, how they used to be. And that's what made me write The Beta Male Revolution, is to highlight how women used to be, particularly prior to the 1960s. And the main thing I highlight in The Beta Male Revolution, among other things, is that the main period, and you guys have heard me repeat this period over and over again, the main period that changed male-female relationship dynamics more than any other period in the last 100 years was that period between roughly 1960 and 1974. 1960 and 1974. That period changed a lot about how men and women relate to each other romantically and sexually. The biggest thing that happened, 1960, was the introduction of the birth control pill. And that gave women basically the freedom to fuck whoever they wanted to fuck without having to risk an unwanted pregnancy. You had the second wave of feminism, which pushed for women being able to earn their own money, which also gave them the freedom to fuck who they wanted to fuck. You had the sexual revolution. You had the legalization of abortion. The porn industry shot into high gear during that period. The end result was, in real simple terms, after that period was over, the biggest thing that changed was that women became 10 times more comfortable having sex with men outside the context of marriage. See, in the first half of the 20th century, man, most women had been socially programmed to wait till marriage to have sex for the first time. That was like the norm back in the day, was for a woman to wait until she got married to have sex for the first time. But after that period between 1960 and 1974, women were like, fuck that. I'm going to start fucking when I feel like start fucking. If I feel like start fucking at 15, I'm going to start fucking at 15. And that's why the dating scene is the way it is today, man. Because women don't feel any social obligation to wait until marriage to have sex for the first time. They don't. And that's why if anybody tries to argue that, I've heard guys try to argue that, man, Alan, I think your Mole 1 approach, man, I mean, there's some things I like about it, but, you know, I don't like the idea of you telling a woman in the very first conversation that all you want to do is fuck her, you know, that all you want to do is have casual sex with her. Why not? Why not? Now, if we were living in 1938 or 1948, I can understand somebody saying that. That would be actually a fairly valid criticism. But in today's society, everybody fucking, man. Everybody fucking. Ain't nobody waiting till marriage to start fucking. Ain't nobody limiting themselves to just fucking within the context of a long-term boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Women are fucking dudes within a half hour after they meet them in today's society. How do I know that? Because I fucked women within a half hour after I've met them. Many times. I've got my dick sucked by women as quickly as within 10 to 15 minutes after I first made their acquaintance. And I'm not talking about a prostitute, a call girl, or erotic escort. I'm talking about just a regular, normal, college-educated chick. Women are fucking, man. So why shouldn't I talk about fucking in the very first conversation? If you good enough to get a woman's pussy, seductive enough to get a woman's pussy wet, she gonna fuck. Again, I know because I fucked them. And as y'all know, when I was younger, not only was I fucking single women, but I was fucking other men's wives, fiancés, and long-term girlfriends. Many times the first day I met them. Women are fucking, man. So anyway, getting to my article. My article today in the Negro Manosphere, I know it's going to rile up some fellas. I know it's going to rile up some fellas. Because I go after you guys. I go after you hypocritical type motherfuckers, man. Because see, I've said this before, man. One thing I noticed on YouTube, man, there's a handful of guys I've listened to on YouTube that are what I would call objective-minded. Objective-minded. And I think 99% of people listening to me know what that means, but for that 1% that may not know, when you're objective, that means you're able to look at things from both sides of an argument. You're able to look at things from both sides. That means you're objective. So, for example, if you're able to acknowledge the flaws and weaknesses of women's behavior, and you're also at the same time willing to highlight some of the flaws and weaknesses of the members of your own gender, that means you're objective-minded. But if you're a man that all you do is criticize and insult women's behavior, but you never say anything negative about men at all, that means you're not objective. In the same with a woman. If you're a woman and you're always saying negative shit about men's behavior and what's fucked up about men's behavior, but you never, ever, ever talk about what's flawed about other women's behavior, then that means you're not objective. You're not objective. I don't like people who are not objective, man. I don't. Never have. Ever since I was probably like in my teenage years or my 20s, man. I don't like people who are not objective. The main term for that would be called narrow-minded. When you're a person that's very biased and highly subjective, that means you're narrow-minded, man. Narrow-minded is pretty much the antithesis of being objective-minded. I don't like people who have a lot of narrow-minded attitudes and criticisms and insults, man. Can't stand that shit. Like, for example, if I want to bring race into the issue, like there's some black people that will harshly criticize white people, the flaws and weaknesses of white people's behavior, but they won't acknowledge the flaws and weaknesses of other black people's behavior. And same with white people. There's some white people that will criticize the flaws and weaknesses of black people's behavior, but they won't acknowledge the flaws and weaknesses of other white people's behavior. See, I don't like people who just lack objectivity like that, man. I can't even like relate to people like that. I can't relate to people like that. And anyway, again, going back to my article for the 50th time, I'm going to quickly run through the 3 contradictions I highlight in this article, and then I'll wrap up this video. I mainly highlight 3 contradictions, and each of these contradictions I've discussed on probably at least 2 previous videos before, starting with April of 2017. Each of these none of them are brand new. Each of them are a criticism, a contradiction that I've discussed on at least 2 or 3 previous videos over the last year. I'll start with number 3 and move up to number 1. Again, my article is in the comment section. Blatant contradiction number 3. Men's harsh criticism of women. Too many women are materialistic gold diggers. No man should have to spend money on a woman for sex. I've heard a lot of men, both on social media and in real life, harshly criticize women for being materialistic and being gold diggers. But guess what? Here's where the contradiction comes in. There's a lot of men, a lot of the same men who will criticize women for being materialistic gold diggers will be some of the same men that will say, man, I have no problem tricking with women. I have no problem tricking. You know, $100 don't mean nothing to me to get some pussy. Now, I don't mind spending, $100, $200 on a woman to get some pussy. I don't mind buying a woman a new necklace or a new bracelet. That ain't no big deal, man. I ain't no cheap motherfucker. I don't mind spending money on women. Then how the fuck you gonna call a woman materialistic and you spending money on all these women? Huh? That's what I don't understand. How the fuck you gonna call a woman materialistic, but yet everything you do is about spending money on women and buying them materialistic gifts? Of course they're gonna be fucking gold diggers. The fuck? just a dumb, contradictory criticism of women. And I can't, this is a criticism, a contradiction that's been going on even before the days of social media. This is not exclusively limited to men on social media. When I was in my 20s, before the internet was even invented, man, there was a lot of men like that. We'd be having a conversation, and in one breath, a friend of mine or acquaintance of mine would be criticizing women for being materialistic, and then less than a half hour later, he would be saying stuff like, yeah, man, I'm going to buy me a new car so I can pull more women. And, you know, I want to make twice as much money as I'm making now so I can pull more women. And you wonder why women are fucking gold diggers. Because you always trying to buy some pussy. Shit, if you buying, they selling. Believe that shit. If you buying, they selling. See, one thing I've always talked about, man, people know from my blog talk radio show and even some of my YouTube videos. Do you know probably no less than 4 out of every 5 women that I've messed around in my life made more money than I did? I've rarely messed around with women who I made significantly more money than them. I think there's only literally in my whole entire adult life, and I'm not even joking, I'm going to say at maximum, there's only been about 3 women I've had a fairly lengthy relationship with that made less money than me. Every other woman that I've dated for more than, not including like one night stands or weekend fling type partners, but women that I've dealt with for at least a few weeks, almost, I would say probably 75 to 80% of women I've dealt with in my adult life were women who were making more money than me. Sometimes way more money than me. Like I remember when I lived in Los Angeles, I messed around with some women who were making like, way more money than me, man. I'm talking about like I might have been making like 30 grand a year and they was making like close to 200 grand a year. Yeah, you know, I mentioned on one of my blog talk radio shows at one point I was what's known as a kept man. Yep, I had a wealthy female doctor in Los Angeles, man. I was her kept man, man. She like paid all my bills and shit. She paid my car note. She used to pay like half my rent. Yeah, dude. I mean, matter of fact, I know a dating coach. I ain't gonna say his name. But a lot of people probably know what I'm talking about. I know that. I don't want to tell his personal business. I really should be talking to him, but I think most people know. But I was gonna say there's a dating coach. Shoot, his wife makes way more money than he does. And I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying that as a plus. His wife makes way more money than he does. Like, way more. Way more money than he does. But yeah, man. Yeah, most of the women I've dealt with in my life, man, made more money than me, man. So, you know, I ain't never been no big spender type. No informal sugar daddy type guy. That's one category no guy could ever put me in. Shit. Half the reason because in my younger years, I never had enough money to be any woman's sugar daddy. Shit, most of my 20s, man, and even some of my early to mid 30s, I was broke, man. Anytime you pursue an acting career or a career in the entertainment industry, which is what I was doing before I became a dating coach, I was pursuing a career in the entertainment industry, man. And until you hit it big in the entertainment industry, you're always going to be struggling. So, yeah, most of my 20s, man, shoot, I was always financially struggling. And again, I would say most of my roughly early to mid 30s. Like when I lived in Los Angeles. 3/4 of the time I lived in Los Angeles, man, I was a financially struggling screenwriter, man. A lot of women used to take care of me, man. Well, I used to have women that would buy me groceries. They would buy me dinner. They would buy some of my clothes. I ain't gonna get on a long segue about that, but I remember one of the first times somebody accused me after I got on YouTube. They said, Alan, you hardly ever harshly criticize black women, man. Well, you know, most of the brothers on YouTube be going after black women, but it seemed like you scared to go after black women. I was like, I ain't scared to go after black women. I don't have no reason to go after black women, man. Black women have treated me like a king, man, for most of my life, man. Shit, I can't tell you how much money black women have spent on me in my life, man. In terms of paying my bills, buying me clothes, letting me use their car, paying my rent. Dude, sisters hooked me the fuck up. Believe that shit, man. I've had sisters hook a brother up. So I don't have no vindictive or bitter or resentful attitudes towards sisters. Or really women in general. I've even had non-black women that have hooked me up financially, man. I've had some Hispanic women that have taken care of me. I've had some white women that have taken care of me financially. Shit. Matter of fact, there was one YouTube host, he was criticizing that, and I had to actually agree with his criticism. He said, I can't remember his exact words, so I'm going to be paraphrasing his words, but last year there was this YouTube host doing this podcast, and I want to say he was talking about alpha males versus beta males, and one of his criticisms against a lot of what I refer to as womanizing alpha males, he said, man, the problem I have with a lot of womanizing alpha males, man, they'll have women like, do stuff like pay their bills and pay their rent and, buy them cars and shit to the point where they don't even have no motivation to be a true contributor to society. They become like lazy and unambitious because they be having bitches like just taking care of them. I can't even disagree with that. Because I've experienced that at times, man. So that was, a lot of criticism I hear on people's podcasts I tend to have a harsh disagreement with. But that was one criticism of alpha males I actually agree with. It's true. That's true. That is true. That's a criticism of alpha males I will agree with, man. Shit, a lot of times, man, my attitude was, I ain't motivated to go out and get no 9-to-5 job. I got bitches taking care of me. I got women taking care of me. I don't need to go out and get no fucking job and pay my own bills. What the fuck I need to do that for? Shoot, man. Yeah, man, I can name a lot of times in my 20s and 30s, man, where I did not have the level of motivation that I probably could have or should have because women would always bail me out, man. A lot of women I knew and was fucking around with, they would always bail me out. Anyway. Going back to my article. So that's blatant contradiction number 3. Is men who criticize women for being materialistic gold diggers, but then they turn around and want to play the role of a sugar daddy or a very frequent trick. I mean, that's a contradiction, dude. If you tricking with women, you whining and dining women, you don't need to be calling any woman a gold digger because you're the ones who are enabling the gold diggers. You're the men who are enabling the gold diggers. So how the fuck can you criticize them? Blatant contradiction number 2. Now here's where I'm going to have to go. I hate to do this. I'm going to have to, well, I already did it, so this won't be the first time, but now I've always said, man, some people, particularly here on YouTube, you might have personal beef with. I've seen YouTube hosts go after each other on a personal level. Again, I always try to stay away from that. But then you have what I would call just philosophical disagreements. Now, I never shy away from a philosophical disagreement. I mean, I can have much love and respect for another dating coach or another YouTube personality or whatever. But if they say something that I just philosophically disagree with, I'm going to philosophically disagree with. So I just want to point that out. It ain't nothing personal. And to do with my blatant contradiction number 2, I think I mentioned this on a recent video. A brother I like, young brother I like, named Donovan Sharp. Donovan Sharp has a popular YouTube channel of his own. He's a writer on the Negro Manosphere like myself. He's actually interviewed me on his show like I want to say 3 or 4 times. And there's a lot of stuff that Donovan says that I agree with. I'd probably say maybe 2/3 or 3/4 of stuff he says to do with dating relationships, I usually probably agree with. But he said something, man, on a group podcast a week ago Saturday that I totally disagree with. Totally disagree with. And matter of fact, I got a lot of feedback from women about this that I knew I was in the right. Because a lot of women wrote me and basically said that they were on my side on this. Here's what Donovan Sharp, and again, I like him, but I just totally disagree with his comment. He made either one comment or he may have made even two comments. It was one of these two comments, if not both. He made the comment or insinuation that women only engage in sex with men if they have some type of like emotional attraction to that guy. He said something to the fact that in order for a woman to have sex with a guy, there has to be some type of emotions attached to it. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. All of my experiences with women have told me that that is bullshit. And again, I had even women write me when I mentioned this on a recent video that wrote me and said that that's bullshit. There might be a lot of women who want you to believe that shit, but believe me, I'm telling you, dude, that's bullshit. And then the second similar comment he made, he said once women do have sex with a guy, say 2 or more times, that it's pretty much inevitable that they're going to become emotionally attached to that particular sex partner. That's also bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And in Donovan's defense, he ain't the only man who's made those two comments or one of those two comments. A lot of men over the years have made those comments. And see, this brings me to my boy's book, who I always promote. What Do Women Want by Daniel Bergner. Daniel Bergner. This is a good book. I probably have recommended this book more than any individual book since I've been on YouTube. And probably Blog Talk Radio too. But one thing Daniel Bergner points out in his book, man, and I'm paraphrasing his words, but he basically says there's a lot of things that men believe about women because they want to believe about women. Let me repeat that. There's a lot of things that men believe about women because they want to believe it about women. It makes them sleep better at night. But it ain't true. The problem is the shit ain't true. I can give you at least minimum 2 things that men tend to believe about women that are just flat out not true. Number 1, a lot of men tend to believe that women are naturally predisposed to being more monogamous than men. That's bullshit. And that's why I did that video last year called The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl, which to date might be my most profound video I've done, actually. At least based on a combination of public feedback and private feedback. There's no video that provoked more public and private feedback of any video I've done than the video I did. I think that was late April or early May of last year. I did a video called The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. It used to be a free video. Now it's a Patreon exclusive video. But that's what I explained in that video, man. Is that you got a lot of men to this day, as I speak, that believe that women are naturally, like it's in their DNA to be more monogamous than men. That's bullshit. And Daniel Bergner points that out. There has been no biological or scientific evidence to ever back that shit up. Ever. Ever. The men who believe that shit believe it because they want to believe that shit. They want to believe that their wife is more monogamy oriented than them, that their fiance is more monogamy oriented than them, that their long-term girlfriend is more monogamy oriented than them. I'm here to tell you, motherfuckers, because I'm here to wake your ass up. That shit is bullshit. How you think I fucked so many men's wives, fiancés, and girlfriends when I was younger? The fuck? I didn't twist these bitches' arms. These bitches gladly gave me the pussy. What the fuck are you talking about? I had married women gladly give me the pussy and suck my dick. Women who were engaged to be married with a big rock on their finger gladly suck my dick. Women who had a loving boyfriend who gladly got on their knees and sucked my dick and swallowed my cum. I ain't twisting none of those women's arms. You better wake the fuck up, man. That belief about all women are naturally monogamous. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. And along with that, the second misguided belief, a lot of men, and this relates again to Donovan's comment, a lot of men will say, well, you know, women, when they have sex with men, they tend to be more emotional about it. They tend to, you know, catch feelings. You got to watch out for women because they catch feelings. Insert dog face here. And wake the fuck up. Look at the statistics that I included in my article. Look at stalking. Do you know men are guilty of stalking a current or former female sex lover almost 4 times more than women are? Almost 4 times more than women are. Who the fuck is more emotional? When men are stalking women after they have sex with them almost 4 times as much as women stalk men after they get fucked by men. Who the fuck is more emotional? When I did that one video talking about men being player haters and male on male violence, I mentioned that a lot of men are very jealous and possessive. I had some men in another YouTube host comment section. They were making comments like, man, if I found out Alan Roger Currie fucked my wife, man, I would kill that dude, man. I would kill him. I would shoot him in the head. Who's more fucking emotional? You want to kill me because I fucked your bitch. And you saying women are more emotional than men. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't never been, but I would never be tempted to kill a motherfucker because he fucked my bitch. I would give that motherfucker kudos and be like, damn, no, your seduction skills are top notch. Shit, it's my wife, fiance, or girlfriend who would have gave that motherfucker the pussy. Now, if a dude raped my wife, fiance, or girlfriend, or somehow sexually assaulted her, yeah, I'd be tempted to kill a motherfucker over that shit. But if my wife, fiance, or girlfriend gladly gave another motherfucker the pussy, what the fuck am I going to be angry at the man for? Unless he's like my close friend or my brother or my cousin or something. But yet all these dudes tell me, yeah, man, I would have fucked Alan up, man, if I found out he fucked my girlfriend. But yet, women are emotional. You don't see too many women talking about killing a motherfucker, killing a bitch, because their husband fucked another bitch. They direct their anger at their husband or their fiance or their boyfriend. They don't direct their anger at the bitch. So, man, y'all can miss me with this shit about women are more emotional, man. I know a lot of women who've engaged in sex with me multiple times without falling in love with my ass. Now, I've had a few. I've had a few women. I've had a handful of stalkers in my life. So I've had a few. I ain't gonna say I never had women catch feelings. I've had some women who've caught feelings, but I've had a lot of other women who never caught feelings. And I fucked them like, 50 times, 75 times, 100 times. Y'all better quit assuming that all women... I remember when I was in college, I read this book. I can't remember the name of the author, but a friend of mine gave me this book. It was something called like A Man's Love or something like that. Basically, pretty much the whole book centered around love from the male perspective. And the author, who was some kind of distinguished psychologist, psychiatrist, marriage therapist, something like that, he basically said something that I never forgot. He said in his book, he said that over the course of a man's life, a man really only falls in love like maybe twice, at maximum maybe 3 times. The average man is only going to really fall in love with a woman 2 or 3 times over the course of his whole life. But he said the times that a man does fall in love, he falls deep, deep, deep in love. Deep. Men commit suicide over failed marriages and failed relationships. Much more than women do. Much more than women do. Men will commit suicide over a failed marriage or a failed relationship. This same author basically said that women, over the course of their life, they'll fall in love like about 15 to 20 times, man. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about women? That women can be capable of falling in love with like as many as like 15 to 20 different men, whereas men are only capable of falling in love with 2 or 3 different women. That lets you know that women's love ain't as deep, man, on average as men is. Their love ain't as deep. So again, going back to this argument that women are more emotional, that's bullshit, man. I would argue that men are the more emotional sex. Men are the more emotional sex. I know men who fall in love simply because a woman was fine, man. I can think of friends of mine, acquaintances of mine, that when they was in the company of a woman who was like just drop dead gorgeous, they would be like, man, I'm in love with her, man. Damn, she fine as hell. Damn, man, I want to marry her today, man. Damn, I'm in love with her. Damn, I want her to have my babies. Like the actor, I'll tell you one actor who admitted he was like that. Michael Douglas. Douglas, who played, of course, in Wall Street and Fatal Attraction. When he met his second wife, who's also an actress, her name is Catherine Zeta-Jones, he basically said he fell in love with her just by looking at her. Because now in her day, Catherine Zeta-Jones was a fine motherfucker. She's still good looking. Even though she's older now, but she's still good looking. But yeah, man, at the height of her, now she was fine as hell. But yeah, Michael Douglas said just her beauty made him fall in love with her. He hadn't even had sex with her yet, man. He fell in love with her just on her beauty, man. And all you men be talking about how women catch feelings. Men catch feelings just on, a lot of times, just on looks and sex appeal alone, man. I'm telling you, man. I've had male friends of mine that I've been around, and I've witnessed it with my own eyes. They'll be around a woman who's an 8, 9, or 10. They'll be like, damn, man. Man, I want to go to Jared's right now and buy a ring for her, man. She fine as hell, man. I want her to be my wife. That woman could be a total bitch from hell. But just because she fine, motherfuckers be like, man, I'm ready to marry her today. So anyway, I spent too much time on blatant contradiction number 2. Yeah, man, forget that. Oh, one of the things I point out in my article is, how can you on one end say that women are overly emotional as it relates to having sex with men, but then turn around and call women things like conniving, duplicitous, heartless, inconsiderate, mean-spirited, venomous, calculating, shrewd? How the fuck can you issue those criticisms if you're going to argue that women are emotional? That's a contradiction. That's a fucking contradiction. Final contradiction, I've pointed this one out. The number 1 contradiction is men who say many women in today's dating scene are highly promiscuous sluts, and very few, if any of them, are qualified to be any man's long-term girlfriend or wife. How the fuck can women be promiscuous if you're not trying to fuck them? That's what I want to know. That's the $1 million question. How the fuck can women be promiscuous if you men aren't out here trying to fuck them? Just like I was talking about the gold diggers, men with money tend to enable women to become gold diggers. It's the same with promiscuity. Men enable women to become promiscuous. If every man on earth was practicing premarital celibacy, how could there be any promiscuous women? How can there be any promiscuous women? If every man on earth said, I'm going to wait till marriage to have sex for the first time, how could there be any promiscuous women? Why you trying to fuck a woman that's not your wife, fiance, or long-term girlfriend? Huh? Why are you trying to fuck a woman that's not your wife, fiance, or long-term girlfriend? If you're a motherfucker that's out here pursuing women for casual sex, then you need to shut the fuck up calling women promiscuous. You need to shut the fuck up. That's what you need to do. If you out here actively pursuing women to engage in casual sex with you, and at the same time you calling women promiscuous sluts, you need to shut the fuck up. That's what you need to do. You need to shut the fuck up. I hate motherfuckers like y'all. I hate motherfuckers like y'all. Now, a lot of you men, particularly the men who are my loyal followers and my male clients, y'all know I got love for y'all, man. I got love for my Patreon subscribers, my clients, my longtime loyal followers. So y'all are excluded. Alan Roger Currie got much love for y'all. But a lot of y'all guys who fall in the category of either my haters and harsh critics and guys who are just very combination of judgmental and hypocritical, man, I ain't got no love for y'all motherfuckers, man. I ain't got no love for y'all If y'all are guilty of one of these three contradictions I talk about, again, to recap before I wrap up, the first contradiction I talked about is guys who criticize women for being materialistic gold diggers, but yet they endorse and condone the idea of tricking with women or whining and dining women and spending money on women. If you're a motherfucker who likes to spend money on women and likes to buy women materialistic gifts, then you shouldn't be calling any woman a gold digger. You should expect that shit. You should be in love with women who are gold diggers. Because if women weren't gold diggers, your ass would be shit out of luck. Number 2 contradiction. Men who want to always label women as being overly emotional as it relates to relationships and sexual relationships in particular, but yet they want to turn around and call women things like heartless and cold-blooded and calculating and inconsiderate. That's a contradiction, man. Women can't be both. You can't say women are overly emotional, but then turn around and say they cold-blooded bitches, heartless bitches. That don't even make sense. And then finally, men want to criticize women for being highly promiscuous sluts, but yet many of these same men are pursuing women for casual sex. Man, wake the fuck up, man. Wake the fuck up. I had a great live stream, Patreon exclusive live stream last Thursday. It was my longest ever. I did an hour and a half. There's a 50% chance I might do one this Thursday, particularly if I'm over this cold. If I'm not over this cold, I don't know if I'm going to do one. So I'll keep you posted through Patreon. I love and appreciate all my Patreon subscribers, all my longtime followers, all my male clients. Again, I'm going to be in Miami in a couple months working with one-on-one face-to-face coaching clients. So if you're interested, write me at coaching@modeone.net. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.